everyone. So this is Victoria from Adelaide Capital. I'm joined today by Mark Binns, the CEO of BIGG Digital Assets. So BIGG is a compliance-first crypto company that owns two leading businesses in the space, netcoins and Blockchain Intelligence Group. So hey, Mark, how are you doing today?
Hey, fantastic, Victoria. Good morning, and I guess good afternoon on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting year in crypto and BIGG specifically, but it seems that interest and involvement in the space just continues on its upward trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes up and down in prices of crypto and some volatility, but the industry keeps getting hotter, and there's more market participants, more institutions getting involved, more exchange traded funds, more DeFi. I mean, you name it. It continues to grow and evolve, so it's exciting.
So I'm not sure if you want to pull up your presentation deck and then we can flip through the slides, and then we'll finish with a Q&A at the end. So, just for the audience, if you do have a question, you can type it in the Q&A box, and then we will try to get to it at the end of the presentation.
Absolutely. Sounds great. You can see my screen okay?
Yeah, you're perfect.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming today. We're going to give you sort of the 20 to 30 minute overview of BIGG Digital and everything we're doing and where we're going as a business. What you're going to find in front of you is an exciting investment opportunity. This is a company with real fast growing revenues, some really unique products in the world globally, particularly in the forensics space, and some big catalysts coming up, which are fantastic for investors and shareholders alike. It's one of the things you're looking for, is a company that's going to have news flow and growth and excitement in the market. And we have all of those things on top of some really awesome fundamental businesses. And with that, I'll jump right into it. I mean, we're compliance first crypto, as Victoria said. That's the tagline. We have figured out how to basically make money in the compliance space and regulated future of crypto. And through that, we do that with two wholly owned subsidiaries. So BIGG Digital Assets actually has two companies. One's called netcoins and one's called Blockchain Intelligence Group. netcoins is a crypto brokerage business for buying and selling Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, et cetera, and all the major tokens run by Mitch Demeter. And Blockchain Intelligence Group is a crypto forensics business used to track the movements of crypto through the blockchain, primarily selling software as a service and software products to law enforcement. The president of that division is Lance Morgan. We're going to walk through both of those businesses and give you details on what they are, what they do, and where they're going, and where the catalysts are. Both of them are 100% wholly owned, 100% our own tech, and together, these two amazing companies make up BIGG Digital Assets. On top of that, we have a couple of minority investments that we've made in really cool, fast-growing startup crypto companies. One's called WonderFi, run by Ben Samaru, CEO. That company's mission is to basically simplify the complexity of the DeFi markets in crypto and offer products in the DeFi space. We haven't been playing in the DeFi space, so we made an investment. We actually bought into their seed round back at 25 cents. They're publicly traded, in the $1.30 to $1.50 range now. So it's been a tremendously good investment for us. But on top of that, it's given us access to some really great investors and audiences all around the company. Kevin O'Leary is one of the main investors, Mr. Wonderful as he goes by, and that's why the company is now called WonderFi. So within a quick phone call, we can access some real players in the investment industry. And Zen Ledger, same idea. It's a crypto tax company run by Patrick Larson. Great company solving a real need. Again, as regulation comes in and people need to report their crypto gains and losses on taxes, they need software to do it. And that's what Zen Ledger is going to do. We co-invested with a number of brand names, including Mark Cuban in the last round of Zen Ledger. So again, quick and easy access to some really influential people in the crypto space just by having the investment alone. Plus, we believe there's significant upside. So those are the two minority investments. Today, we're going to really focus on netcoins and Blockchain Intelligence Group and what's going on in those businesses. First of all, a little about why to invest in BIGG. We have two businesses. Both of them are successful in their own right and growing quickly. So you have a diversification of interests. We operate in the trading side, but we also operate in the forensic side and the safety side of the business. The more cryptocurrency is adopted, the more growth you're going to see. The more you see PayPal and MasterCard and Visa and banks getting involved in crypto and payments. Unfortunately, there's going to be crime that comes along with that. And that's where Blockchain Intelligence Group fits in and can really help everyone. The other side of that is that Netcoins is there helping everyone buy and sell and trade. And the more crypto, again, is used and the more people that are involved in investing in it, the more revenue we can generate. So continued adoption means continued revenue growth for both of our businesses. We're also extremely well funded. We have over $70 million in cash in crypto. We have about 430 Bitcoins that are our own completely, not counting assets under management for customers that have been a tremendously good investment, and we believe will continue to be so as crypto and the value of Bitcoin rises over the coming months and years. And in our most recent quarter, we're cash flow positive operation, generally been throwing cash off. So the business is really healthy, growing quickly, and is well funded. No need to do any financing or cash raises or dilution. Again, because we're in a comfortable position as a business. Our business model is agnostic to the price of crypto. This is something that it needs to be talked about all the time. People need to remember, just because Bitcoin goes down one day, it's not bad for us. Netcoins has some of its highest volume trading days when Bitcoin goes down, and then Bitcoin goes back up and people jump back in. We see panic buying, panic selling. All the volume is good for us. All volatility is good for us. And with our Blockchain Intelligence Group software, it makes no difference what the price of underlying assets are. We're just tracking the movement of them around the blockchain and reporting it back to our customer base. We have a strong management team. I'm going to go through them in a few slides. The right people behind the business, the right dedication to make this continue to grow. And we're a catalyst-rich business. We'll talk about with Netcoins as we get going here a bit about regulation, some international expansion, and some new products that are coming that are really exciting. So there's lots of catalysts coming up in the business as well. From a trading overview, there's about 240 million shares outstanding. One of the really valuable things to understand is that management has a real stake in this business. We have the largest stake in this business between the directors and management of the company. We own more than 10% of it. That's worth give or take $20 million US today. So, we put our money where our mouth is. We're here to build this business and grow it for all shareholders, including management and director shareholders. So we're very dedicated to seeing this company continue to grow and succeed. We think we're only in, give or take the third inning of crypto. I'm on record as saying Coinbase IPO was probably the start of the third inning, and I really believe that. If you look at research coverage is another side, don't take our word for it. We have 3 different companies that are covering us currently, with more coming, FRC, PI Financial, and Singular Research. The average is over $3 Canadian. For the stock that trades a little over $1 Canadian right now. So there's a triple from here based on analysts actually looking at the business, looking at the comps in the market and the competitors and what they're valued at, and looking at our revenue stream. So pretty exciting from a trading overview point of view. And here's the actual revenue. I said we're a company with real legit revenues growing quickly. We did about a 10x from Q2 to Q2, 2020 to 2021, from about $500,000 to almost 5 million, 4.55 million. We had, a phenomenal start to this year. We built the business during the bear market of 2018, 2019, made sure the products were ready to go, make sure we invested so we'd be here to reap rewards and really grow our customer base and revenues during bull markets. And that's what we're seeing right now. So excellent trajectory overall. The management team is part of what you're investing in. My whole background is tech and then sales and marketing. So I actually have a computer science degree, which has been very useful in understanding crypto and the blockchain. I first got interested back in about 2013 when I met a guy named Mitch Demeter, who I'll talk to about in a minute. Did my MBA at Western at the Richard Ivey School of Business, and then got involved really in helping companies grow sales and marketing. And that has been super useful, obviously in my career, but in BIGG with a real focus on first product market fit and then scaling revenue, which you just saw. Kim Evans, our CFO, is excellent cross-border experienced CFO. We're listed both in Canada and the US, and in fact in Germany as well right now, CSE, OTCQX in the States, and in the German markets. And we're looking at uplistings as soon as is reasonably possible, both to the TSX in Canada. I have a standing monthly call with the TSX right now. On the back end of licensing for Netcoins, we'll be able to move forward with approvals, et cetera, for the TSX for uplisting. And then in the States, looking at NASDAQ small cap market after that. Lance Morgan is actually the co-founder of Blockchain Intelligence Group, tech guy with significant understanding of the blockchain, obviously, has built that business from the ground up and is now one of the leading companies in the forensic space globally. So Lance is doing a fantastic job there. And then on the other side with Netcoins, we have Mitch Demeter. He's a bit of crypto royalty. He actually opened the world's first Bitcoin ATM back in 2013, designed and launched it actually right here in Vancouver, Canada. That's when I first really started paying attention to crypto because it was happening right here in our town. He then put Bitcoin ATMs, all over Southeast Asia, different countries. He launched an exchange to support those ATMs, and he eventually sold that business and basically, retired as a young man. But I found him late 2017 and said, "Come with me. We're going to build an exchange in Canada, new exchange, easy to use, new tech, and with a focus eventually on regulation and being a leader through that approach." And Mitch loved it, jumped on board, and he's been the president of that business since 2019, and has done a great job growing it, as you've seen. So we got the right people growing the business as we go. So to talk about Netcoins a little bit, it's one of the leading exchanges in the country. I use the word exchange, but really we're a brokerage business. Our job is to sell people Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, help them buy, help them sell, make it easy. We really win on simplicity and ease of use and excellent support. We have a ton of new customers that are brand new to crypto that come in and buy their first $50, then $1,000, then $5,000. We have an education center that teaches them about crypto and also about how to trade it and things they should be considering. So we're really opening the market with this product in Canada to new traders and also experienced traders and higher volume traders that love the use of the platform. And on the top of that, another differentiator we've been working long and hard on since back in about 2018 is becoming regulated. So working with the CSA, which is a Canadian equivalent of the SEC, to get a license for our crypto trading platform, Netcoins. And at the time, there was no such thing. So we spent a significant amount of time talking to the regulators, explaining how we do everything from KYC to anti-money laundering to fair trade execution to custody to insurance, all of the complex parts of a trading platform in crypto that aren't the same as a stock market or a stock exchange or a stock brokerage, and working with them to figure out how we could be licensed. We're on the tail end of that. We expect to be licensed by the end of September, so give or take a little over a week away. And with that license, we expect to get a lot of free publicity, basically nationally in Canada. This will be the first publicly traded company in the country to have a licensed crypto trading platform. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been as fast as we would have hoped, but we're at the finish line now and expect to cross over and have that license very shortly. And with that, again, there's a lot of positives that are going to happen. There's going to be a competitive reduction in the space, and it's already started happening. So the CSA expects everybody in this country that's going to run a trading platform to be licensed. Companies that are international or foreign companies like the Binances and BitMEXes that don't do proper KYC, they don't manage tokens and have custody the way regulators would want to see for a safety point of view and an investment point of view. They're being forced out of the Canadian market. Binance, like I mentioned, has already been told by the OSC you can no longer adopt customers in Ontario. And the smaller players in the market in Canada also can't reach or hit the regulatory burden of the reporting, the getting the license, et cetera. So those players will either be shutting down or looking to have themselves sold to bigger players in the markets that are licensed. So what you're going to see over the coming months is a shrinking of the competitive set that can sell this product to customers in Canada, both from the top end of international players and from the lower end, leaving a handful of regulated exchanges and brokerages that will chop up all the business and share it and compete for it. Netcoins being one of those players and one of the first to move through the licensing process, giving us a big first mover advantage. So we're really excited about that development, I guess you would say, an accomplishment. Again, it's taken a long time and a lot of work with regulators, but bringing new regulation to life in a new industry is complex, but we're there and it's going to be fantastic for Netcoins. And the second part of that is it's not like we're starting from a standstill. The business has been up and operating for the last couple of years, showing tremendous growth. You see the revenues for the quarter on the left side from 780K to over 4 million in Q2, a 4x jump in 2 quarters. And you can also see the active users, revenue, transactions ranging everywhere from 24 to 40% quarter over quarter growth, up to 2,000% year over year growth in revenues. And the numbers are great, but the other part of this is we've been built for scale. We've been working long and hard from the early days, looking at a future where we'll be one of the top volume players in the country, and we'll also be looking for international expansion built on the same tech platform. So we built everything on scalable servers, redundancy, multiple liquidity providers. Our platform is one of the ones that has always stayed up during spikes in crypto, and other platforms have gone down or have not been able to serve their customers. So we worked really hard to have technology that's ready to scale, is built for the current size and the spikes in the market, and can take us to the next level, both as a regulated company and also as a company with international expansion plans later this year, and then well into next year as well. On top of that, how do we do it? It's through marketing. We have a flywheel or a pinwheel of marketing. We do everything from television ads. We have some new ones coming this fall, starting as early as October. We have newspaper advertising. We have out of home, engaging people in the streets, bus stops, you name it. We have celebrity endorsements. This is Brendan Gallagher, assistant captain of the Montreal Canadiens right here. We pick Canadians because they have, or Canadian athletes because they have Canadian followers, right? And that's where we primarily are operating. We have Andre DeGrasse just won the 200-meter Olympic medal in the Olympics. That's him sitting there using netcoins and telling his followers about how easy it is to use netcoins for crypto purchases and sale, and come try it out. So there's a wide range of marketing. We're in app stores now. We're marketing inside of Android and iOS app stores. And, we continue to bring on customers at a very efficient pace. Our customer acquisition cost jumps around depending on the platform from $25 to $50. And the lifetime value of customers continues to rise because they come and they trade with us and they stay with us. So every time we look at it, it seems to be higher. Last number we looked at was around $300 lifetime value of a customer. So, that's a dream business when you can acquire customers for $25 to $50 and they'll return you $300 over their useful life. And again, that number has been growing as people are staying with the platform. All right, that was netcoins. Now I'm going to talk about Blockchain Intelligence Group. The mission of this company is to bring security and accountability to the crypto space. It's really been built to help everything from law enforcement to other exchanges in the market stay on the right side of the law, to prosecute or provide evidence to prosecute people that are committing crimes where crypto is involved, etc. There's 2 main products, Clue and BitRank Verified. What I'm going to focus on is Clue right now, because that's the product that's really growing and is a tremendous technology value in the marketplace. Clue is used to, again, track the movement of crypto through the blockchain. This is valuable if a crime is committed involving crypto, and it could be for anything, including theft or money laundering, weapons purchases, drug purchases, child pornography, you name it, any of the bad things that can happen in the world. If there's crypto involved, police agencies and enforcement agencies globally need technology to help them solve those crimes. They've had tools in the fiat space for probably hundreds of years, but only recently do they have any tools for basically doing research and enforcement in the crypto space. And Clue is one of the leading products that we've developed over the past 5 to 6 years. We put $25 to $30 million of investment into it, and it is amazing how it works. I'll give you a use case. Someone steals your 500 Bitcoin. You report it to the police. They log into Clue. They'll put the wallet address into Clue where the Bitcoin was stolen from, and then they'll hit go, and Clue will map it all out where that Bitcoin went through the blockchain. It'll show them all the wallets, the addresses, and then it will do the really valuable part, which is attributions. And attributions is where you actually see what those wallets are. And what an attribution means, sorry, my screen disappeared, there we go, is that it'll show you that a wallet is at Coinbase, or that wallet is at Kraken, or the wallet is living at a different exchange. And overall, then you can actually decide what to do about that. So let's say the coins ended up at Coinbase, and Clue showed you it moved around the world 3 times, it ended up this wallet. We have an attribution of that's a Coinbase hot wallet. Immediately the police will call up Coinbase and say, hey, Coinbase, freeze the coins in that wallet. Here's a subpoena. We believe they're proceeds of crime. And tell us who owns that wallet, which Coinbase will tell them. And then they may issue a warrant for arrest, or they may do more investigation. If it ends up in court, Clue can be used to show professional expert evidence at the movement of the coins, the wallets it went through, and then there'll be a prosecution. Our job is not to be police officers. Our job is to provide the best technology and tools to law enforcement possible to do their job. We have multiple blockchains, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, ERC20 tokens. There's over 300,000 ERC20 tokens that are all trackable through Clue, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, etc. The attributions is the data. We have 760 million or more data points and attributions for the Bitcoin blockchain alone. Think about how huge that is. And we have 3.5 billion data points and attributions for wallets on all of the blockchains that we support. It's a huge data product that is then designed to be shown very visually through a graphing engine to our users who don't need to know hardly anything about crypto other than asking the tool to show them what happened to crypto or where it's gone or who it's come from. There's only a few companies in the world that can do this, and we'll talk about those in a couple of minutes. We also do a crypto training program called a Certified Cryptocurrency Investigator, or a CCI. We charge about $1,000 US for the course, and it's an 8-hour online course. It might have grown to 10 hours now. The great thing about this program is it's paid marketing. In other words, we get paid, but we're doing marketing. When you're taking this course to get a designation like a CA in accounting, you're getting a CCI or a cryptocurrency investigator designation from us in crypto, is you're seeing Clue in action, and we're teaching you how to do your job and track crypto with our tools. And then at the end of it, these people typically become customers. Once you just learned how to track crypto using Clue, it follows on that you'll at least have a good look at whether you want to buy a Clue license or have your company get Clue licenses so you can do your actual job you were just trained on. So it's a great funnel for us. We've had people from banks, government agencies, crypto exchanges, anti-money laundering organizations, universities. It's even getting taught in schools now to teach students about crypto. Fantastic program. It's been very valuable for us on the crypto training side. And then finally, this is a big market that's growing. The revenues are really just taking off in this market now. But the value of the technology that's been built by competitors is significant. Chainalysis just did a raise with a $2 billion valuation. CipherTrace actually just got sold to MasterCard about a week ago. The valuation wasn't public, but based on evidence that we see in the media and stuff, we believe it was between 250 and 500 million US probably for that acquisition. And that's because MasterCard wants to understand the movement of crypto, that anything is touching a credit card that they operate, so they can stay safe and compliant and look after their business. And then there's Elliptic, which did a raise recently of 25 or maybe it was 23 million. Again, it's significant valuations. If you look at Clue and you compare it to these only 4 real competitors in the space, there's some smaller players, but these are the big ones. The market cap or the value of the Clue tech alone can be worth more than the entire market cap of BIGG Digital Assets. I've said that many times. Of course, it's somewhat subjective, but research companies that have looked at us, like we talked about at the start, the PIs, the FRCs, the Singulars, looked at the comps in the market, looked at the revenue streams, looked at the technology, and understand that this, Clue, what it's worth could be worth 250 to 500 million dollars itself. There's other players in the market that need products like this. There's the Visas that are still out there, the Amexes, the major banks. Everybody's going to need forensics companies, and we're building this company for ourselves and for our revenue stream. But if someone comes knocking to buy it, we'll have to take it seriously, because there is very significant valuations in the market. And if it makes the most sense for our shareholders, of course, we would look at that. But that's why we're so excited about Clue. Amazing product, a lot of time and energy and money invested into it, huge data value, and in a very, very tight competitive space with high barriers to entry. Nobody's just going to build their own all of a sudden. That's why MasterCard bought CipherTrace, because it takes years and years and years to build up the attributions, the data points, and the tech. Circling back now, I'm not going to talk too much more about the minority investments. I already talked about them. Great companies. We've made great returns already on WonderFi because it's gone public on the NEO. Access to excellent investors, North American wide in the space through a quick phone call, and we're keeping our finger on the pulse of the market. And if there's good things happening, BIGG's going to stay involved. Where's the future going? With regulatory approval for the netcoins trading side in Canada, it opens up lots of stuff. There's some TV stations we can't advertise on. We'll be able to do that with a license because they have said you need to have licenses first, which is funny because none existed, but they're about to exist. Opens up lots of new opportunities for us. There's new partnerships coming that'll be able to be announced post licensing. Our trading app has been launched on Android and iOS, which has been seeing great adoption and has been really good for us. We'll be able to move on and expand internationally. We're working with lawyers right now on which states in the US we're going to be able to launch in before the end of the year. And that's an exciting big market. It's 10 times the size of the Canadian market. And look at how well we're doing in Canada. It's the exact same acquisition strategy. I expect the cost to be the same. The tech is already built to onboard Americans. The KYC infrastructure we have in place is already built to onboard American customers. So it's basically a few more points on legal, some banking set up, and we'll be ready to go. We also have some fantastic product expansions coming with netcoins. Netcoins Pay is something we're hoping to launch very soon and announce specifically a partnership around it where you can make payments with credit card anywhere credit card's accepted. So you walk into the grocery store and you buy your groceries with your credit card, and it will actually debit your netcoins crypto account. So it could be your Ethereum account or your Bitcoin account or whatever coin you want. Will get converted out of your netcoins account into fiat and sent to the customer, sent to the merchant, I should say, which is the grocery store. For us, it's a transaction. When fiat is created from crypto, it's a sale essentially, and then we make a trade fee on it, and then that fiat gets sent to the merchant. So the more people buy with credit cards tied to netcoins, the more money we're going to make. So we're pretty excited about that. Plus, the partnership companies come with their own significant audience of users already that are going to get marketed to through that company to get a netcoins account get set up, and alone could be a very significant growth for us. And then we'll continue to keep our eyes open. There could be other strategic investments in the space, just like the two we've made. If we are doing that, of course, it'll be for the benefit of shareholders, while I see great opportunities in the companies themselves and the financial returns we can make, or strategic investments, or access to other significant players in the market as we have so far successfully. And with that, we'll probably turn it back to Victoria for questions. My email is on here. I respond to as many investors and inquiries as I can. And of course, you can also email IR at BIGG Digital Assets, and Victoria and the team at Adelaide. It's doing a fantastic job engaging our customer base. They'll get back to you as quickly as possible if I can't, and keep everyone up to date with what we're doing as a business and where we're going. All right, Victoria, back to you.
Yeah, thanks for the update. It's nice to hear that you guys are getting close to the finish line on the license. I know it's been obviously a top priority of yours and a huge focus for your investors. So
yeah, absolutely. I've been talking to the regulators at least once a day for about the past 7 to 10 days, and multiple times a week for months before that. There's a lot of components to it, as I talked about, everything from KYC to anti-money laundering, fair trade execution, custody, insurance. And so many of these things are new to crypto, and done differently in crypto than they are in the stock market. And they're creating a new licensing regime to make sure a crypto platform fits into the existing, restricted dealer license protocols with the right exemptions and differences for crypto companies. It takes time, but we're very close to that being behind us, and then the exciting stuff that comes after it.
I saw a stat back in, I think, May, when they were talking about everyone registering with the OSC, that 70 firms had looked to apply in order to get regulated. So what do you think is going to happen on September 30th? Do you think the OSC is going to be handing out, a number of license, or are a bunch of these firms further behind in terms of, where they are going through this process with the OSC?
Yeah, there won't be a flux of licenses all of a sudden on September 30th. That date is more specific to Netcoins actually in a financing we did back in April. And they said, hey, we'll let you move forward with the financing, but we want to make sure you guys get licensed in the next 6 months. So that date's not really a global date or a Canadian wide date. And the 70 companies, I mean, all they had to do was send an email in essentially to the OSC and say, yeah, we're willing to go through the process. It doesn't mean they had started. It doesn't mean they had any even ability to set up their infrastructure to get licensed. And what you're going to see is a slow roll, I think, on licenses over the next few months. And I also think that, you know, the vast majority of those platforms won't actually get licensed. It was a way of making sure that they didn't ignore the OSC, because if you were ignoring them, they would immediately take enforcement action on you. We saw that happen with other companies, Poloniex being one, where they didn't engage the OSC, so they took enforcement action. So that was 70 companies saying, we hear you, we'll send an email to you and say, hey, we're willing to look at being licensed. But for sure, smaller platforms will probably either shut down or be sold. I've had a couple of different ones approach me in the last few months saying, hey, we're not going to make it through this regulatory regime change. Would you be interested in buying us? So, you know, the jury's out on what will happen to those companies, but for sure, I think you're only going to see a handful get licensed over the next couple of months. And the rest of them is, you know, it's down the road. They either won't at all, or it'll be a slower process. So it gives us a real first mover advantage and a head start, I guess you'd say, because by the time that email, you know, that notification come out and the 70 people replied, you know, we'd already had our license pending for months. And we're working with regulators on the final components of it, not starting to write a multi-hundred page document.
And then can you give everyone just an update, you know, on what's going on with the auditor process? Is this going to have any impact, or has it impacted the license at all? And do you anticipate it having any impact on Q3?
Yeah, happy to. There'll be no impact on the license, and there'll be no impact on Q3 financials. The auditor is only required for end of year financials, and our fiscal is December 31st. So the next time, you know, we need a signed off audited financial statement is due the end of April. That said, we are working diligently to get a new auditor on board, and we're in process with 3 different companies, 3 different audit firms, I guess you would say, doing background checks, providing information for their onboarding teams. And in every case, you know, we're looking at going with a larger auditor that's going to be great for our business and have the bench strength to handle the volumes that we're now putting through the platform. Because as you see, Netcoins in particular has grown so quickly over the last year. We need a lot of horsepower to verify transactions in an audit. So we're pretty excited about the direction that is going, and you know, we're hoping to announce a new auditor as soon as possible here.
And then as Netcoins continues to grow into the US, can you maybe just further explain, you know, what the full process is that Netcoins needs to do in order to start operating within US states?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we need some US subsidiaries, which are being created right now by our legal team in the States. We need proper US banking, so people can transfer funds to fund accounts into US based and domiciled bank accounts, which are tied to those US corporations. And then we just need to flip the switch. We're already completely set up from a technology point of view and an onboarding point of view from KYC to enable US customers. So we flip the switch. And of course, then people don't just stampede in. We'll have to do some marketing. So we're planning some marketing launches in the states that we launch in to let customers know about Netcoins. And it'll be similar channels. It'll be online, it'll be television, it'll be radio. We know what our ads need to look like because we know how they work already in our Canadian market, and we'll be able to turn those on quickly. Which states we're going to launch in hasn't been decided yet specifically, we're going to go for the biggest bang for our buck most likely. So, you know, larger states. I mean, a couple of states in the US alone have the same population as Canada. We expect to hit a broad range of the states, but there's 50 of them with different money transmitter laws and different things that we have to be ready to go with legally before we launch. So we'll be picking where we get the best return and can hit the most customers, and then off we'll go into that market.
Will it be more expensive to market in the US? Do you see any changes to your customer acquisition cost or anything moving across the border?
No, we don't think so. You know, you actually have more density in a lot of states in the, you know, parts of the United States than you do in Canada. So you can often get more efficient use of marketing dollars.
Right.
And you can do some mainstream media advertising that you can't easily do in Canada. You know, if you want to put an advertisement, you know, in pro sports on someone's jersey, for example, in the States, everyone will see it and they can go use your platform. As Canada, there's no point doing that on US television because we're not launched in the States. It's actually going to make it a lot easier for us to advertise, knowing that the audience will be able to act on it uniformly across the States as we get going. So we expect the customer acquisition costs to remain in line with what we're seeing in Canada.
And then what about your staffing levels at BIGG? So are you guys going to need to add more bodies as you expand into the US? And then also just on the tech side, any changes to the tech or?
Yeah, so we will add bodies that primarily will be on the support side. So as the customers are growing in Canada, we're continuously adding customer support representatives that help people onboard, answer their questions on phone and email and live support. With the US, we expect to see, you know, significant growth and expansion for the customer base there. So we will need to continue adding to that team, but it's very cost effective to add to that team versus the revenue that's generated from customers. And from a tech point of view, no, that's the beauty. We already have custody with US companies today. And the technology from an onboarding point of view is already built for US and frankly for global customers, but there's no issues there. And all the rest of the flow is ready to go. Some minor adjustments to how deposits of fiat currency comes into the platform because they'll have to route it to a different bank. But overall, very seamless and ready to go from a tech point of view.
I have some questions on the Clue side. So what has been the growth rate of Clue and what growth rate do you anticipate to see going forward?
Yeah, Clue's been growing at about 25% a quarter. I think last quarter it was 26%. We expect this to accelerate. The market is really growing quickly in forensics. Law enforcement is waking up, I would say literally waking up to the need for these tools to do investigations. You know, a couple of years ago, they might get 1 or 2 cases a month reported for a crime that involved crypto. And then that's gone up to, you know, 20 and soon it'll be 200. And I'm making up the numbers, but it's that kind of scale and growth as crypto gets adopted by more people and then it gets used in more crime, unfortunately. So the law enforcement agents are really starting to realize they need help and they need to know how to investigate these cases. There's the financial crimes unit in most police departments of any size. They are becoming buyers now. So we expect that the dollars being spent on these tools is going to continue to grow, which of course will accelerate the growth of Clue. That's one of the few products in the market that can service their needs. And governments are the same way outside of police departments. You're going to see significant increase in spending from governments. You see El Salvador making Bitcoin, you know, a legal currency. We think there'll be more of that happening in countries. And those governments are also going to need tools to make sure they understand the movement of crypto through their constituents and citizens and making sure that everything's safe and operating the way they want it to as a government as well. So we think the market's going to keep growing very quickly and actually accelerate.
And then BitRank Verified. So is that being adopted by the marketplace? And is there a chance that it could become an industry standard?
Yeah, it is. It's early stages for that because it's mainly targeting exchanges. And in fact, we use it inside of netcoins to look at all of the coins that come and go from the platform and risk score them and make sure that ideally coins that were involved in crime don't end up on our exchange. And when that really matters is with regulated platforms. And now that regulation is coming in both in Canada, in the States, it's coming in globally, exchanges will need to prove to regulators they're doing the right things and they're trying to stay on the right side of the law and they're not facilitating or being party to any crimes. So that's where that product is aimed. And I think it's going to see a lot of growth in the coming years, specifically tied to the adoption of regulation by governments. And that's a big reason, you know, Blockchain Intelligence Group started out as compliance first crypto, is that they knew that these tools were part of the future, regulated future.
Another question, just jumping back to netcoins. So what are you seeing on the ground in terms of, you know, corporations and institutions starting to get more involved in crypto?
Yeah, we see it every day. There's an absolute growth in the institutional investment sector, I guess you would say. Part of it is with the creation of exchange traded funds. So that's a corporate involvement creating those funds. And then corporations like investment houses, et cetera, are buying shares in those funds, which are, essentially underlying asset is whatever crypto it is. You're also seeing a big move from corporations putting crypto on their balance sheet, much like BIGG Digital Assets has 430 Bitcoins, because we believe that is a better store of value than leaving that fiat sitting in a low interest bank account. You're seeing other corporations, everything from, 2-man or 1-man companies. Like we hear about guys that run their own painting business that are putting their money into Bitcoin, all the way up to huge corporations. You heard about, Tesla when they started buying Bitcoin, Square's buying Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is the famous example, the NASDAQ listed company run by Michael Saylor that just keeps buying and buying and buying Bitcoin. But you're seeing corporations of all walks putting crypto on the balance sheet, and that's a big corporate involvement. And that's why we're super bullish about the upside prices of these crypto assets, particularly Bitcoin, due to limited supply, because we see more institutional involvement, more corporate buying every day, even on our own exchange.
So just a few more questions here I want to get to. So any details on what Netcoins Pay will look like in terms of rewards that you guys are going to offer or fees you're going to charge, and how it will compete with the current crypto cards that are already in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think it's going to look similar. There will be some version of a reward, whether it's a cashback or crypto accumulation, et cetera. The final decisions I don't think have been made there yet by Mitch and the team, but it'll be competitive in that way. And there, of course, will be incentives for our customers to use the card. And one of the biggest incentives overall is just that they can actually spend their crypto balance, which we do here, and we've done studies that there's a demand for in the marketplace. So it'll look like those other products in a lot of ways.
And then one question saying that you mentioned ETFs on a webinar yesterday. So would you further elaborate on those comments, or maybe provide context for those who didn't watch the webinar yesterday as well?
Yeah, well, it is mostly in reference to BIGG Digital Assets being involved in funds. So there's crypto focused funds, whether you call them exchange traded funds or just crypto funds. And we're being included more and more now in these funds, and they hold a basket of publicly traded crypto companies. And it doesn't take long to Google a few, and you can see that they hold, 1 million shares or a few million shares of BIGG Digital Assets in these funds. And the beauty is they buy them and they hold them and they rebalance once a quarter. So it basically takes those shares off the market. And as those crypto funds become aware of BIGG and put BIGG into their portfolios or into their indexes, obviously they have to buy the shares in the market, creating buying demand. And I did mention I was talking to a decent sized European crypto fund the other day that doesn't have BIGG in their portfolio yet, and they're looking to add it. And when they add it to the index that they're quarterly rebalancing, if they add it to the point where they need 1 million shares for the 1% of their fund, whatever the number is, they'll go buy them in the market. So you're just going to see a continued amount, especially as we grow, of institutions and crypto funds adding BIGG Digital into their holdings, which is nothing but great for us as shareholders.
Okay, 2 more questions before we let you go. Would you ever split Blockchain Intelligence Group and Netcoins in order to create value for your shareholders?
If we saw an opportunity to create significant value for shareholders, I won't say never. I mean, right now we enjoy a lot of efficiencies by having one pubco and essentially one CFO, one set of reporting, one set of financials, all rolled together. It's part of the reason we put these companies together back in 2019, is we saw a lot of efficiencies, and we use BitRank inside of Netcoins, et cetera. But again, if someone came along and wanted to buy one of the companies or the other, and the valuation was very attractive for our shareholders and created value, of course, we'd absolutely have to consider it to be our fiduciary duty to review it as a board and make a good decision for all shareholders. But in the meantime, we'll keep growing both of those great companies under the BIGG Digital umbrella.
Okay, and then lastly, what about plans for free cash flow? So I guess if you guys thought internally about an NCIB, or are you pushing it all towards growth? What are you guys thinking?
The plan is to continue to use our cash for growth, particularly in the US launch for marketing there. We're planning to be even more aggressive with Netcoins in Canada on the backside of licensing. The capital was raised specifically to grow our businesses, and through the growth of the businesses and the revenues, to create market cap and return for shareholders. So I think the best way right now to use our cash is to definitely invest in growth. That's the plan, and that's what we're going to keep pushing for. And that's the best way to give our shareholders returns, is building great companies.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me. So we'll all be looking for the license hopefully soon, because it sounds like there's a slew of good things that are coming out behind that. So the second half of the year definitely seems like it's going to be a very interesting time for BIGG. I know that there were a lot of questions that we weren't able to get to, but if you guys just want to send myself an email, you can reach me at victoria@adcap.ca, or you can send an email to, the IR at BIGG Digital Assets that you can see on your screen. We will answer a bunch of those questions offline. So thanks again, Mark. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure, Victoria. It was great to be here, and thanks to all of our dedicated shareholders and employees and partners in this business. We think there's a really bright future here, and we look forward to a great Q4. And I'm sure we'll be back here with Victoria again to update everybody as we go in the coming months.
Most definitely. Okay, bye guys.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.